And so we're gonna go through your rights real quick, and then we're gonna transfer it over to the young people. We're gonna sit in the back and just vibe and give thanks for these young people who coming forward. It's not coming up, so we're gonna let y'all go. Y'all ready? All right, here, get the mic. Eldridge, Corey. Yeah.
Um, okay, maybe. Okay. It's on you. You need me to start it? You good? All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Corey Silas, and I'm a senior at Decatur High School. Um, my senior project this year was to try to help organize this conference because I feel like it's important that everybody understands what exactly is going on in our society today with just black people in general and what exactly we need to do to just kind of assert ourselves in society and just face the problems that's going on. And right here we have Ben Malek, who's a college freshman at Georgia Perimeter. We have Eldridge Washington, who is the founder and executive director of MADE. And we have Chantel Fitch, Chanel Fitch, Chanel Fitch, who is a poli-sci grad student at Clark Atlanta University. And Ben will be speaking on From Emmett Till to Michael Brown. Chanel will be focusing on women. And Eldridge, what are you doing? Will be focusing on leadership. All right. Who's going first? Let's start. Okay.
Okay, like you said, my name is Chanel. I'm a grad student at Clark. And my focus right now for the purpose of a thesis is the war on drugs and how it affects those not directly involved in the drug trade, more specifically women and children. And the reason that I became interested is because, well, first of all, I'm from New York, and where I'm from, I'm not from Brooklyn, but where I'm from, the war on drugs is I'm from a black community, so it's very prevalent. And my older brothers, my cousins, they were all, every man that I knew basically was a drug dealer. So that's kind of why I became involved, or I became interested. And I became a criminal justice student in high school because of a personal experience with the war on drugs. You know, you hear the stories all the time about SWAT, you know, knocking down the doors and throwing in grenades. Like, that actually happened to my family. So I became involved because of that. And the reason that I started focusing on women is because I realized that women are not necessarily paid attention to in terms of the war on drugs. We don't realize how it impacts them because they're not the ones on TV being arrested. And basically, what my focus is on how we can start to get black women's issues placed at the forefront as well. Because a lot of times when we focus on the black community and the issues within it, we focus on black men being killed, being arrested. But a lot of people don't know that since the 80s, since the war on drugs was declared, the female prison population, especially for black women, has increased eightfold. And it's actually increasing now more at a higher rate than men. But we don't really pay attention to that. We pay attention to black, which I understand because, it is important, but we have to understand that if we're going to focus on the whole community, we have to focus on black women also. And I don't think we do that enough. I mean, we have like Trayvon Martins and we have like Sean Bells and we have all these black men who are being killed by police, and we pay attention to that every time it happens. We protest, but when we have black women black women are killed by police also. Like I was saying in one of my seminars, nobody's ever heard of Chantel Davis. She was a Brooklyn black woman who was killed by police. We don't hear about that. We hear about only black people, well, black men specifically, and what else? I just think if we're going to try to mend or fix the community as a whole, we can't focus on one portion of it. And it's been happening forever since the civil rights movement. Black women have always been the engineers or have always helped and pushed for black men, but I don't feel like we get enough support from them. And that's basically what my focus is.
Check one, two, check 1 2. Hello, how y'all doing today? Man, y'all, this is the youth talk. I said, how y'all doing today? All right, do me a favor. You tired? We all a little tired. If you're not a morning person, if you're a morning person, raise your hand. All right, we got a few. I'm a morning person. I wake up excited every day, especially today. But all right, so my focus, excuse me for using my phone, 21st century technology. I'm going to do that. I gave everybody some paper and a pen because you know what they say, the shortest pencil is better than the longest memory. So if y'all hear anything today that stands out, write it down, and hopefully we can give y'all some insightful information. I just want to thank the Davis Bozeman Law Firm for giving us the opportunity, because I know it is very rare when you see a panel that is run and operated by young people such as us. So please, give them a hand. Give them a hand for that. All right, so I'm going to be focusing on leadership and a little bit on clips. Excuse me, I got to walk around because that's just what I do. I'm a little excited today. So everybody do me a favor. If you're a leader, raise your right hand. Right hand, okay. If you're a leader, put that down, put that down. If you're a leader, raise your left hand, raise your left hand. Okay, okay. If you're a leader, do your thing, do the A-OK. Everybody do the A-OK? And put it right on your chin, right on your chin. Bam, what happened? What happened? Some people put it on their eye. Some people put it on their chin. I'm saying all that to say what happens is, in leadership, people watch what you do and not what you say. So we're going to talk about that. People watch what you do and what you say. We got a lot of leaders that telling us what to do, but young people, this is what it's all about, what we do, not what we're saying. So I'm going to give y'all 4 things that leaders must do. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to break down. Can I get somebody to give me, and this is interactive too. This is not just a panel. So I need somebody to stand up, give me your definition of leadership real fast. No wrong answers. No wrong answers. Somebody stand up. $20. Who stand up first? All right, everybody in here rich. Okay, let's go. My man, I'm going to elect you.
My definition of leadership is like an example or role model, or somebody to look up to and can follow.
Everybody agree with that? Perfect. One of my definitions of leadership is action, passion turned into action. Passion turned into action. Because what happens, everybody in this room was pretty passionate about Mike Brown. Everybody in this room was pretty passionate about Trayvon Martin and all the names that we hear on the news all the time. Everybody's passionate, but not many people turn that passion into action. So that's my definition of leadership. I'm going to break down the word lead and tell you what every leader must do. 4 things every leader must do. Number 1, and when you break down the word lead, L, it stands for leverage. As a leader, we have to learn how to leverage a couple of things. 1, learn how to leverage your age. As young people, I started my organization, MADE, just a background on me. It's an acronym for Motivated Adults Developing Excellence. It's a mentoring program for middle and high school students. I started it my senior year of high school, graduated 2008, and I leveraged my age. I was passionate about it. I turned it into action. I talked to everybody. I told them what I was doing. I was excited, and I ran with it, and I was able to do it full-time 2010. So now I'm doing it to this day. So 1, leverage your age. There are people in this room, especially at this conference, there are people that will support you because you're young and they want to give you the torch. Number 2, leverage your media. How many on social media? How many on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that? Leverage that. There's a lot of awareness. Like she said, she didn't name, I will admit, I did not know the name you just named of the young lady that was killed in Brooklyn. I didn't know that, but I can easily follow you on Twitter. Put that out. Tell me something about it. We so quick to tweet out about what's going on with Desperate Housewives, what's going on with all these TV shows. I do it. I watch football, and I'm tweeting out play-by-play. You'll think my Twitter ran by ESPN. But how many times do we leverage our social media for the things that really matter? Last thing I'm going to talk about, leverage your money. How many know about Black Wall Street? Black Wall Street, Sweet Auburn. We in Atlanta, Sweet Auburn Avenue. That was when we leveraged our money. We supported each other. We did business with each other. So many times, we are not conscious black consumers. And all that means, because when we go shop, there's no such thing The reason why you have to be a conscious black consumer, because 9 times out of 10, when you go shop for a business, when you hungry, you just go get something to eat. You just pull in whatever business. But do you know that's a black business? We got to really, as young people, we got to really begin to support it. We love J's, we love fresh clothes and all this stuff, but it's a lot of independent designers that are coming up that we can support. And you can get it for just as good for better prices. So as young people, we got to learn to leverage our money. Next, we got to educate as leaders. Educate people on our issues that's going on, educate people on our causes, our mission, and then educate people on plans. That's why this is big. This is not just a lecture. This is an opportunity for us to come together and educate each other what's going on in our individual communities and develop a plan together. Next thing, we got to advocate. Advocate, man, well, let's start advocating for our family. My man, this is my dude right here. I just met him, man. This is my dude right here. He is representing all the way here in Atlanta from Ferguson. He's truly advocating for his family and his community. And that's what we got to do. We got to develop a warrior spirit like my brother right here. Next thing, last thing, and lead, we got to dream. Everybody knows about Dr. Martin Luther King, one of the biggest dreams of our time, of our generation, of our people. We have to really begin to dream and know what, you got to know, one of my favorite authors is Stephen Covey, and he says you got to go in every situation with the end in mind. So when you're talking about everything that's happened with Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, what do you want your community to look like? How do you want the police to treat your community? How do you want your community to be educated? You have to dream about that, because if you cannot visualize it, nothing happens by accident. Everything happens by plan, by design, and you have to begin to dream it. And I hope I will talk. So my timer, where you at? I'm good? Okay, perfect. I'm sorry I'm rushing, but I don't want to take up no time. And first of all, y'all looking beautiful. Give yourself a hand. Give yourself a hand. So in closing, man, because we're going to open this up a panel, because, again, I really want y'all to just really get ready to ask any questions. Let's start this conversation. But I got a couple of call to actions. Number one, everybody in here said they're a leader, but you have to do your research on strong black leaders. There are not enough being taught in our school system. Dr. Martin Luther King is just the surface. He's just the surface of where we come from. And then they only tell you about one speech. They don't tell you about the real Dr. Martin Luther King. So you have to begin to do your own research. You can't say you want to be a strong black leader if you don't know any. So you got your pen. I'm going to just name a few real fast. We got W.E. Du Bois, Thurgood Marshall, Malcolm X, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman. If you write them down, unless you know them, write them down, because I want you to do your research. Find out who you want to be like. Study their ways. Study their success patterns. Because everybody heard the expression, don't reinvent the wheel. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already happened. We have a blueprint of what our generation did before, and the only reason we're here now because we lost track of that. We lost sight of that. They stopped teaching that to us. So as young people, you have to go in and do your own research. Every young person in here say, I'm great. I'm great. Man, y'all don't believe it. Let me hear you say it great. Say, I'm great. I'm great. So one more time. I'm great. I'm great. All right, perfect. That's what I need. Next thing, join an organization. You'll hear that a lot. This is a great coalition of people that put this on. Join an organization that can help you develop your leadership skills. If you need one, you can join mine, but mine is not the only one. There are plenty of other organizations that you can join, but you can't do this alone. So if you're not a part of an organization, I suggest after today, do your research and join one. Last call to action that I have here is check your circle, because I was called up here to do leadership in cliques. Do me a favor. Who's a good reader? Everybody is. I believe in you. All right, young lady, can you do me a favor? This is a definition of cliques they pulled up Google, because they wanted me to talk about this, because we all have cliques. Everybody got their clique, right? Their team, their people that they with. What I want to encourage you to do, let's stop building more cliques and start building more communities. So give me the definition of clique real fast.
A small group of people with shared interests or other features in common who spend time together and do not readily allow others to join them.
I love everything except that last part.
Yeah, I was like,
that last part. How many know it said a small group? Black people, we are not small. It is a lot of black people. Y'all in the great city of Atlanta. I don't know about y'all. We right here by the West End Mall. So we are not a small group of people. Give me one more. The next one is community. Give me the definition of community.
A group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common.
Perfect. This is what I need y'all to do. We got to stop building cliques. Man, don't get me wrong. I listen to Drake. He one of the great lyricists. But then no new friends. That ain't going to work because we have to begin to build. We have to begin to work to each other. It is a shame we have schools that are so divided. As black people, as people in general, we got to begin to work together. So I encourage y'all, when y'all go home, know everybody in your community, not just that 5 to 10 people that you always hang with, because it's going to take more than that when we have to begin to fight back. We have to begin to organize and bring a true change. Because I promise you, Dr. King couldn't have did it with a clique of only 5. He couldn't have did it with a clique of 10. We need numbers. We need masses to bring change. And this is my time. Thank y'all for the opportunity, and I look forward for this great dialogue we're about to have.
Hey, everybody. My name is Ben, and today I'll be talking to you about how to conduct yourself in like an urban environment for the young people, because how to conduct yourself in like an urban environment for young people, because from all the different things we have going on these days with Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin of the society, it's a lot. There's a lot of danger involved in a lot of everyday activity that our parents might have been able to do as growing up, like going to parties and hanging out, things that we might not be able to do in the same freedom because it might be detrimental to our health. And one thing I won't be able to do today is give you a surefire way to combat that, because one constant in all those situations is the color of the people's skin. You can't change that. Whether you wear your pants on your knees or up here, you're still going to be black. So a couple tips would be like, watch how you look and make sure you're aware of the way you look to people, because if the police are rolling up next to you, you got your pants down and your hat on backwards, that might look kind of suspect to them. And regardless of how you think, it's about how they think, because you don't want to go to jail that night. So sometimes you might have to pull your pants up, change how you wearing your hat, take your hood off and all of that. And you definitely have to watch your surroundings and your peer group. Like my man said about the cliques thing. You might need some new friends, because if you're with your friends, you walking down the street and you got that one friend that you know that's always on go. They going, and the police car roll by and they F the police and they doing all that, just going crazy. You don't want to be with that friend that day, because you might get locked up that day or be harassed, exactly, or shot. It's that serious, and it might sound kind of overstated, like, oh, no, we ain't getting shot or whatever, but it's really happening, like with the Trayvon Martin case, the Michael Brown case, Ezell Ford, the Sean Bells of the world. It's a lot going on that people have to realize and change the way that they've been moving. So I definitely want to open up the floor for questions, because I know I'm kind of short up here, and advise everybody about moving forward from here on out.
I didn't hear too many questions, so I hope somebody wrote some questions down, because we got 3 great presenters up here and didn't nobody ask no questions. So
I have a question, actually. Oh, can I ask a question?
of course.
About what you just said, because I think it's a misperception that based on how you dress, like, that determines whether or not you're going to be harassed, or because, I mean, even in the 60s when black men were wearing suits and ties, like, they were still harassed. So I don't think it has a lot to do with what you're wearing. I think it's just who you are. So I don't think teaching like our young men to change how they look is going to help. I think it's a society that needs to change how we see them or how we perceive them. I don't think preaching to your kids, oh, you can't wear your clothes like this because you're going to be seen as a suspect, then you automatically put it in their head that I'm a suspect. So I don't think that teaching is beneficial to black men. I don't know if you. That's not a question. But.
I believe, and I honestly, when I translate it, I see what you're saying. I don't feel like you were saying that, but I feel like you were saying there are certain things that we can do to minimize the situation. Because although as a black man you can be a profile in a suit, this is how I dress because I can afford Jordans. So I dress like this and I feel good like this. But at the same time, I have been a victim of police harassment also. So there are certain things that you can do to minimize it because there are police officers that are out there that are profiling and looking for a certain stereotype. And if you can avoid that, do what you can do. So that's what I personally feel what he's saying. And my man got something to say up there, and I love when he talks. So please give him a mark. Give me a lot of pushback.
I'm gonna give you a little pushback. This is how I organize young people to do what I want, right? I'm just keep it all the way funky. When I see the dude that's sagging, I don't stereotypes. My whole thing be like, hey, put your hands up. So when the police come, get away. I try to keep it as logic and functional as possible.
That's good.
Because like you said, suit gets you killed, J's get you killed, everything gets you killed. Black gets you dreads, clean cut, Caesar. I always try to keep it to that. Once we get into the what should I not do syndrome, then we'll be here. I mean, the list will be longer. I just try to do survival tactics because that's how I live.
I like that. And another thing that I do also, because I teach career development with students, and I tell them life is a game. If it is, you can win it. And depending on what game you're playing, there's a uniform that you must wear. And for the game that I'm playing in life, this is my uniform. So I got young brothers that's saying they want to be lawyers, they want to be attorneys. So one day you got to put on your uniform if you want to play that attorney game. So however you break it down, and I feel exactly what you're saying, keep it logical and simple. Like I said, I love when you speak.
Right here in the back.
Good morning.
For my brother, what's your name?
Ben.
Ben. I can relate to what you say. These are my two nephews, and they dress different. They wouldn't usually wear braids and beads, and I have a concern because at this stage, he's 12, he's 8, to where you want to allow them to embrace their freedom of expression. But at the same time, you understand how society, stereotype them. And I see sometimes that there's that aggression. And I'm concerned about having them to feel like they have to tolerate the aggression for their choice of clothing. But at the same time, I don't want them to have the fear of what they're wearing. So my question is there such thing as finding a medium in between? Because, I do understand as kids, you should be able to do that. I used to wear my clothes, backwards and everything else, crisscross and everything else. And so I truly understand as a young person when they want to do that. So what would you say about finding a medium? Because there is that fear, and I don't want them to have the aggression, but I do want them to just enjoy life a little bit.
Okay. It's definitely, first of all, it's definitely a lot deeper than just what you wear and what you have on, because I definitely don't wake up every day and know, okay, I'm going to wear this just in case this happens and whatnot. You definitely should express yourself in whatever way you see fit. It's more of a behavior and an attitude that you might have to have or change in order to deal with this stuff. I mean, as far as a medium, I'd say just make sure your kids are respectful and they know their rights and what they can and can't do when police officers or any law or authority person is around. Be prepared like a man.
I just want to say I understand what you're saying, but as young black boys that's going to become men, I'm witnessing it, and it's very hard because I do see the frustration. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Who's fair? Never mind.
I skateboard a lot, so I'm usually around the city every once in a while. And I usually get into a little bit of trouble with the police because skating's not such a big thing to do. So is there any way I can try to stay out of that or something? Oh yeah, I skateboard a lot, so skating is not usually really, yeah, really liked in certain places. I go to skate park, but sometimes I like to skate street. So anything I can do to like stay out of that. 'Cause I look the part, or sometimes I look kind of bummy, but I try my best to like be careful and stuff.
I actually don't understand exactly what your question was. Are you saying is there a way to combat that? Is that what you're asking?
Because I'm like, yeah, to be safer. Because
safe.
I'm very sure I might get caught out one day.
Well, honestly, it's more in the conversation, I guess, or the exchange you have with the police officer or whatever. Because no, there's no way that you're going to be able to guarantee your safety with skating around the city or whatnot. It's regardless of what you're wearing or what you're doing, it's still going to happen at some point. So.
Hi, my name is Ashe. Not Ashe, but Ashe, but thank you. I get it a lot. And I wanted to say, kind of comment on like what we've been talking about. So I wanted to say, because we talked about women, right? But like even in our questions and our conversation, we kind of been focusing on young black men, right? And that's like important, but let's focus on women as well. And let's reframe the work like to, I use the word harm reduction. And what I mean by harm reduction is how do we reduce harm? So when we're talking about like whatever we wear, you know, how do you reduce harm by like, if you are sagging, like this brother said, pull up your pants real quick if you see the police. Like real simple. You know, how do I reduce harm? If I am, you know, wearing something a little revealing and I know that police officers have been known to be sexual assaulters, I may cover up myself a little bit to reduce my harm. And I'm not slut shaming myself, that's just reducing my harm, right? But I want to focus on like talking about women and how can we bring women to the forefront of our conversations, because time and time again, we are like, we shout out women's names and we shout out, and I'm also a queer person, right? So we shout out women's names, we shout out queer folks' names, but we don't like have national movements around queer folks and women, right? And I just want to know how can we like, how can our men and how can our like other women, how can we support this conversation? Like what are some solutions? Because we keep saying it and it keeps being brought up everywhere, right? There was even, I remember I followed the folks in Ferguson on the hashtag Black Lives Matters, and I remember like there was a talk about having like a meeting at a church so that we could like rearrange the conversation around queer folks and women of color. So it's like even that is like, you know, even in Ferguson where action is happening, this is still coming up. And it's like, what are some of the solutions? That's kind of my question to like making sure that we are nationally organizing around black women. And we are not just saying that our men are going to become our like saviors, right? We're saying that black women can organize themselves, but how are we supporting that, right? Yeah, so that's all I have to say.
Can I? Yeah, you can. Well, first of all, I think right now is probably one of the best times to really start to place women's issues at the forefront, because if you look at a lot of colleges, especially HBCUs, majority of the people in those classes are black women. So we have to start like preaching to these black women that we can't only fight for our, you know, black counterparts, we have to fight for ourselves also. And I think in the classrooms is the best way to really begin that, because that's when black women really start to understand the issues and want to become more involved. So we have to really get into the classrooms because that's where most of them are. I think that's probably one of the best ways to do it. And then we have to stop, not stop talking about the Trayvon Martins, but we have to stop. Like, you know, people, our activists are mainly black men. So I think that's, of course, what they're going to focus on. So we have to get our black women to be more involved in these movements. Also, I think we're involved, but we're always involved in the background. We have to place ourselves at the forefront. But like I said, I think it starts in the classrooms first, because that's where most of the black women are right now.
I feel like we are. And
like to comment on that, it reminds me of Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott, like how much work Coretta Scott did that a lot of people kind of sleep on. And so I think that as women, we need women that organize, like she was saying, women that organize and push for women's rights just as much as men are pushing for their rights. Men are all, well, me as a man, I'm automatically going to be like, my brother's being killed. I have a son, so he's 5, and I'm like, if that could be my son, I see my son. And Mike Brown, I see my son. And, you know, so naturally I'm going to come from that bias. But that's not even what I really wanted to say. That was just commenting on what y'all was saying. I was commenting on what he had said about dream. And I had been thinking lately that the dream is what is under attack. And it goes into like your clothing and the way you're free to express yourself, or the way you want to create, or things that you want to do that people might say is impossible and can't be done. But there is no impossibility. At one time, someone wanted to fly a plane, and they were thought to be crazy. And now we fly all over the place. So no dream is too big. Don't let them attack the genius inside of you that unlocks these keys to end generational curses, regardless of how they tell you should dress or carry yourself. Like when you open your mouth, you carry yourself a certain way. When you open a woman's car door, you carry yourself a certain way. When you, I don't know that we can do this anymore. Like I seen this woman walking from the grocery store with her hands full, and I just thought, like, I would love to take her groceries, but this is not back in the day. So she might like, he's mugging me. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, I'm going to speak to that. On that, sir, what you just got to do as a leader, you have to just do it. You have to do it. You have to bring it back. I do it all the time as far as just chivalry. It's alive. And the reason why she might think it's muggy, because it's a lot of people that think about it. When I said leadership is passion took the action, and you're passionate about that. You're passionate about helping people, passionate about serving. So you just have to change that to action and just start to do it and make it the new trend.
Greetings. I attempted to sit back and hear some of the young people and what you all had to offer and bring. And as a brand new 40-year-old, I wanted to bring some history and some of the genealogy to the table as far as you all addressing male, female in our struggle to liberate ourselves as Africans in this country. And I caution you as young people to do your homework and bring that research to the table, in that part of our issue, part of the breakdown of the power of our movement came with the Women's Lib movement. Not that there's a problem with empowering ourselves as women, but what we have to remember is we are from a people that work in a more universal sense, in a more holistic sense, where there is no man issue, woman issue. There is a family issue, there is a nation issue, and with that, it's all inclusive. We do have to remember that if a son is attacked, his mother is crying, his daughter is crying, his girlfriend, his wife is crying. There are women affected, and yes, that is all inclusive. When a woman drops, her father drops with her, her husband drops with her, and her son drops with her. So there's no way to really separate that. When we start to get into other folks' language about how we operate and how there's a man thing and a woman thing versus a family thing, then we lose what makes us us. So it doesn't mean that you have to negate one for the other. It means that we need to go back and remember how to create that connection where when one rises, everybody rises. That's it. Peace.
Thank you for that, sister. Ferguson Finest.
Nah, none of that. I'm just a regular guy like you, bro. It could happen tomorrow. You could be 75 days and people be like Atlanta Finest. I don't even do that. I can speak from Ferguson. I think probably what people don't see is the majority women out there. And I don't get into that dialogue. I see, like I said, I see hurt people who came out. I don't say you queer, gay, trans, woman, rich, you hurting, come on down. This oppressive movement, this oppressive people movement, let's go.
That's good.
I think that what we have the conversation around really is not how do I respond to the police, right? How is my clothes responding to other people? It's a community and nation building thing, right? I think that while I know that in the Western society, we have a role, like he said, well, do I help her with the bag? Is that macho man-ish? Is that old-fashioned? But then you got some women to be like, hey, he ain't no man because he ain't help me. So we have a problem with the gender. Well, I don't think it's a man-woman concrete. It's a what is my gender supposed to do in this society as it equates to my historical tradition, as it equates to how I'm living in my culture right now. And that's a paradigm that we stuck in. And I don't know how to get out of that. I just know that, Organization for Black Struggle, this is what we do. The T-shirts is a small piece, but then we have sisters talking back. We have a conversation that's exactly what you do, where the women speak on the panel, and we do the same thing except the opposite, right? To check your male privilege at the door. And a lot of times we don't like to do that as men, is sit back and hear what they saying, because it has to be valid. It's just like racism. If she say she hurt because she dressed a certain way and they harass me, then my job is to G-check him, be like, hey, don't harass her. No matter what, if she walk out the house naked tomorrow, you just respect her, and that's what she chose to wear. On that same thing, I coach little boys. I ain't got no answer for that. My answer would be the most radical answer, kick the police out, tell them don't come back, have the brothers who can't find jobs be police. But I don't know how that works in real time. You know what I'm saying? But it's a community effort. But as long as we have people in the community that can do that job and tell the police, don't come here. Because the police is the only job where you get to sit and wait for bad stuff to happen. The firemen don't sit outside and say, look, that power surge look like it's about to pop and the house about to burn. Now I'm going to sit out here until it happens. Only the police get to do that job. So we got to find a way to build our communities and police ourselves.
That's good. That's good. Hashay.
I just want to say one thing real quick before you get to another question, because what you just said, that's basically my whole point. Like, I feel like right now what we're doing in the black community is generalizing black issues when it's really we're just focused on black men's issues. And that's what I'm saying as far as integrating women into it, because we do have to look at it as issues of just the black community. So when I brought up Chantel Davis, my purpose was to say that she is a black person regardless of whether or not she's a man or a woman. So her story should have been told also, because the reason she was shot is still the same reason Trayvon Martin was shot. It's because she was black. So I think we have to stop separating men and women, and that's basically my entire purpose. Like, it's not a black man's issues, it's a black community's issues. That's my purpose. That's my point.
Greetings to all. It's so good to see so many young people out trying to making a difference in the world in which we live. You had mentioned Dr. King's dream speech, so this is going to be a multiple-part question. You mentioned his dream speech, but that's not what he went to D.C. to talk about. That was the fallback speech. The initial part of that was the fact that America owes black people a paycheck. So, yes. So if you could expound on that a little bit. A few weeks ago, Dick Gregory said that we don't live in communities because in communities you own the institutions. We don't really own any institutions in the areas in which we reside. Do you have any strategies in terms of how perhaps we can help? Now, I know the Nation of Islam is doing a lot besides them in terms of having what they refer to as a multivariate strategy, not just one particular strategy, but a multivariate strategy. Do you have any ideas in terms of some additional strategies that we could develop so that we can actually have communities and not just areas in which we live? And thirdly, I pastor a church. If you would like to come to our church to discuss queer issues, please feel free. And fourth is a commercial. Dr. Rosetta Ross, who teaches at Spelman, wrote a book called Witnessing and Testifying, Black Women, Civil Rights and Religion. And it is a good book as a foundational book. I know you're not talking about not separating, but sometimes we have to take steps. It's a good way to look at primarily 6 to 8 women who were instrumental in their faith changing public policy in this country. So it's witnessing and testifying black women, religion, and civil rights. The Dr. Rosetta Ross, and she teaches at Spelman. So, dream, community, strategy.
Perfect. First of all, I'm going to keep it short because I know we run out of time. I'm not even going to expand it. I'm going to honestly say I don't know enough to expand, and I'll never give out false information. I'll be front and say that. As far as the communities, I will say my organization we have a series of programs that we have partnered with other organizations to help educate our community on subjects as far as financial literacy, buying your own home. We are actually based in the Lane Carson Community Center, which is in, you know about Lane Carson, Reynoldstown. Come on. But right above us is the RRC, and they just educate. We teach classes every month, educating on how you buy your first home, and it's my job to fill that up every month with young people, because too many times we get in the thought of we don't think about tomorrow. Like, I'm young, that doesn't matter. I don't have to have a house, but just educating our young people on how can we begin to own our own besides renting. And what was your next one you were saying? Oh yeah, you were commenting to her.
All right. We're about to transition because we're about to do Know the Law. We got a couple people else who are going to come up and speak to you about a few things. I want to leave you with this as well, young people. It takes 10,000 hours to do something, to become an expert at something, okay? So in y'all lives right now, 10,000 hours to become an expert at something takes you about 4 years in order to develop and cultivate that. At 10,000 hours, you should find something in 10,000 hours to do something well athletically. You should do something 10,000 hours to do something in your career. You need 10,000 hours to do something in what we're talking about as far as activism, because you need to become an expert of that as well. 10,000 hours as well, and to become something good in the arts. So you got about 50,000 hours to really develop and cultivate yourselves. And each and every day, you need to be putting this into your own development path with your portfolio. You need to be building a portfolio every day. If you're an artist, you need to do something in art every day. Music, writing, drama, whatever it is that you're doing, you need to be practicing that each and every day so that you can give back to this comprehensive conversation that we're having right here and today. So I want to bring my young people back up real quick. I just wanted to leave you with that. Get all of the materials from all of the presentations today. That is your task as well, because those are some of the take-backs that you need to have. I want to just thank all of our young folks for the presentation that they just did. Give them a round of applause, please. And I'm going to bring back up Maoli. We got, I'm sorry, he should be closing out, and he's going to close out this last segment right here. But thank you all.
Seeing that this is a youth peer talk.
Put the mic.
Seeing this is a youth talk and a peer-to-peer talk, I just have one question from my brother from Ferguson. Seeing that you're coming from a unique situation that no one here has really experienced, seeing that we haven't had the situation, we really haven't had the opportunity to get involved in our community the way that you are in Ferguson right now. So I just want to know, what advice can you leave to the youth that's here today about how, even though we're young, how can we still get involved in our communities?
Go outside, bro. I'm going to keep it all the way real. I went outside. I took my anger outside. I tweeted out, "Bert, take your anger outside." Then we met up together, and we all came together, and we was angry as hell. And we yelled at that building until we wanted to go in that building. I want y'all to know it don't take a lot of us. When I started, it was a woman named Latoya Cash. It was 6 sisters, and Brother Montega Simmons from the Organization for Black Struggle, who I didn't know. I was never in no organization. I wasn't signing up for nothing, dog. I'm out here by myself. I ain't got time for that organizational talk. None of that, bruh. I'm at this building. But the women came, and they had poster boards, signs, and everything. 2 weeks later, I'm with Montega Simmons. I'm signing up for the organization Black Struggle. Then me and Tef Post started Hands Up United so we can take it national. And we don't, and it ain't no hard, it's not a hard process. And people, I want people, the organization and stuff, it works for the academic people. It don't work for the hood people. And I'm going to tell you why. It takes more one-on-ones and protests to make them sign up and want to roll with you. So your call sheet going to be short. You can have 1,000 people. They ain't coming outside unless it's a protest to come to. They want to know where they're going to turn up at and who to turn up to. Your job as an organizer, be like, hey, the prosecutor name is Bob McCullough. We're going to chant Bob McCullough till he get mad. But that's easy because we like to turn up. Like, you come out, like, I wish some of y'all could come to Ferguson. Like, this is not kumbaya, man. This ain't your daddy's civil rights movement. We ain't doing none of that. We yelling. We got pastors chanting, we going to shut this shit down in the streets, live on MSNBC. And it's young people, man. It's like young, it's low-key 15, man. He sleep outside with the Lost Voices. He ain't going to school till he get freedom. That's what he wake up and say, the struggle woke me up. And he get up. It don't take a lot, bro. It's 8 people. We shut down stuff with 12. We ruined a Rams game with 22 people. It don't take a lot, man. I just flew in from Oakland. I met Reggie Lyles. He took me to Bobby Hutton and Huey P. family house. And he talking about Stokely, and he do the, yeah, brother. That's how Huey talk. He said, yeah, man, baby. And he said SNCC never had over 200 people nationally. He said the Black Panthers had 12 people in Oakland for almost 3 years. And they fed people with 12 people. It don't take masses amount of people to do the work. For the protest, you're going to want them numbers. For the work, everybody ain't going to work. Some people going to clock in. It's hard to clock out of Coca-Cola and clock in full time to do this work. I was lucky enough and dumb enough to just quit my job. And then OBS backed me on that. But if you do that work, somebody going to come out the clear blue sky and back you. You got to just walk on faith. Find you 11 more people. Be like Jesus. Just find you some disciples to walk with you. And go to work. We do books and breakfast. That's easy. You talk about the community. We do books and breakfast. We give out free books, free breakfast. We use black businesses. We give out the books for free. The characters look like us. We do political education on Thursday. We show everything from the spook who sat by the door, Claudine, whatever. We do it all, right? It's easy. Then we do one day, we just do the speeches on YouTube. We go to Stokely, Malcolm, Martin. We do the Martin, like the breakdown of the Martin, when the poverty tool, and we talking about reparations. When he talking about nonviolence here is nonviolence everywhere, and he was talking about Vietnam, that's what got him killed. You see what I'm saying? But you need to lock that in to the kids early. We get it in early now. It's too late to go. And when we did the books and breakfast, it was 4 of us. I'm running over here getting the sausage. Derek come read the book. While he reading the book, I'm going to clean up. We come back. Abby come up and put it on the computer. It's easy, bro. 4 people did books and breakfast, feeding about 60 people. It's not going. I'm telling you, 12 people. Period. And you'll do the work for the last 50 years with 12 people.
Okay, I still want to thank. I don't know how to come after that, but I want to thank everybody for coming out. We're about to transition into knowing your rights. So I think that's all we have. So
it's all connected, y'all. Everybody stand up real quick. Just stand up. Boom. Pop up. All right, stand up. Westminster Church, stand up, man. Come on, stand up. Put your phone down. I know y'all been probably running around. All right, have a quick seat. Everybody good? All right, cool. Look, man, we're going to go through our, we're going to give you some rights. We got to, last night, let me tell you, it was a beautiful thing. Tory, I want y'all to make sure you all Google Tory Russell. You know, and when I'm saying Google him, I'm not doing it off of like, you know, on no groupie stuff. But just look what the brother's been doing. They wrote an article about him in the Huffington Post. Real strong article. Brother Khalid is going to come up from Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, and he's going to give us some more context, right? Because like what Tory is experiencing, here's the thing, what's interesting, and Corey, Thomaston, Georgia right now has a movement. Thomaston, Georgia, 1 hour, an hour and 20 minutes away. Who want to get down? Daruba bin Wahad was slammed in Clayton County, 30 minutes from here. Who want to get down? We're dealing with Habersham, where they take a grenade and throw it in a baby's face, and it blows up in a baby's face. Who want to get down? So we got it happening right here. It's just, you know, we got to support Ferguson in every way we can, but we gotta bang here. We gotta bang wherever you are. You need to be banging and like dealing with the situation, because if not, I mean, it's on our doorstep. We don't have to wait. It's already happened. You know what I'm saying? It's already happened. Ariston Waiter was shot in the back twice in Union City, unarmed. We've had Michael Brown here already, and it's continuing to happen. So the gig is to be plugged in. So one of my takeaways that I want to make sure that we have is that we have all of y'all information. And if you say you want to organize, we'll organize with you. It's no trip. If you say you want to do a breakfast, they got a school. You feel me? This family has a school. So we understand we can organize, but that's why we wanted to get the young people in the room and the young people at this conference so that y'all can see it's folk organizing right here on the ground. Get down. Kali came. Come on, Brother Kali. He came in from Jackson, Mississippi. He been organizing around the country with the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, which is, you know, part of my political family. And so we're going to run through Know Your Rights real quick because we have an obligation so that y'all, and here's the thing. We just want y'all to be able to keep soldiering. There are going to be things that you may need to get arrested for, right? In a protest context. You may have to say, all right, I'm going to get arrested. When those young people went out and stopped 75, 85 traffic the other day, we met with them the night before. And they asked, okay, what are the consequences? And so I was like, all right, if you get arrested for this, what he said was, if you do something, the people will be there. They called me up. Can you come to a meeting in 2 hours? I bet. I'm there. But before I come there, I reached out because we got an institution. So the institution that the brother is asking about, we build institutions. So we got an institution. So there's Attorney Tawana Morgan is here. She's our longest associate in our office. We got 5 lawyers. And so I asked one of the lawyers, look, here's the things that they might get arrested for. Make sure that you give them the maximum penalty, the maximum time in jail, the maximum fine, what jail they may go to. They can either go to Atlanta Municipal Jail. They may go to Rice Street. Telephone numbers. So we gave them a worksheet. So the young soldiers say, we're going to take over the freeway, and then as responsible adults who may not just, I can't get locked up right now, right? You know what I'm saying? Here's what it is. We're going to break it down. So Corey, all of y'all, we can do it in Decatur. It's racial profiling in the city that we live in. What are we going to do? I mean, we right here, all you got to do is ask, and we're going to give it to you. You know, some of y'all go to, very nice, private schools and all of that, and they dogging you. I organize some black students. Don't let them treat you like that. Y'all parents pay $30,000, $40,000 for you to get treated like some stuff from the 60s. This is a call to action. That's what this whole thing is about is, man, it's happening. Now you just something got to click in your brain. Bryce Soul hit me last night, then I'm going to shut up, but I just want y'all to get this. He hit me last night with, man, something happened on this day, and it's just been this, I've been just yearning for it. I know that feeling. It happened to me 23 years ago. So when I went to Georgia State College of Law, I didn't go there just to get a college education. I went there saying, how can I be a warrior for my people? And so what's burning in him is burning in me. We just trying to get it to burn in everybody. You know what I'm saying? So y'all thought y'all just came here on some, I'm going to check this off against the community service. We trying to get it burning in your spirit. So that when you get up in the morning, you just can't shake it. That's how it is for me. I can't shake this. My law partner be wanting me to go do this case. I be like, man, I got to go organize, right? But fortunately, we got an institution in place that allows us to do that. Most folk, you know, Tory just walked away from the gig. He's just like, man, I'm out. You know, he threw him up, right? And so here's the power. Nobody is getting to have this kind of intimate conversation with a brother that's on the ground in Ferguson that's been organizing for 75 straight days. Nobody getting to have a conversation with Brother Colley, who wrote the Ghetto Storm Report. He did all of the organizing to get the Ghetto Storm Report written and published so that you could be clear that Ferguson is not an isolated incident. He connected the dots. That's what Malcolm X grassroots movement did, connect the dots. So it's clear, we at war. So then you decide what you're going to do. You're either going to chump out or you're going to be in it. Y'all ready? We're going to always start with an ancestor.
To be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.
Y'all good?
Yeah. Okay, so can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. Now, one thing that the reason why I went to law school in the first place, I was going to do some computer work and work on some contracts and write some things down, sit in the office and get rich. That didn't happen. So ever since I've been allowed in the courtroom, I have been loud and I have been moving around and I have been talking. So this is going to be your interaction with me. You will also be loud and you will be interacting and you will be talking. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through these slides. We're going to ask some questions. I'm going to let y'all answer the questions. Give me your opinions about it. When you are asked to answer a question, I want you to stand up, tell us who you are, tell us how old you are, and that's how we're going to go out throughout this presentation, okay? All right. If you don't raise your hand, don't worry. I'm going to pick you anyway. All right? So the first question is, can the police stop you when you're walking down the street? Anybody? All right, I'm going to get you. Oh, okay, hold on. Right here?
Yeah, I hope.
Okay.
Where? I'll walk with the mic. She has a question. Put it to you.
Stand up.
I'm Azor. I'm 13. And, well, no, the police can't stop you. Well, it depends on what you're doing.
Okay.
If you're just walking down the street, they probably will ignore you, just keep on going. And if you're like throwing rocks, doing stupid stuff, they'll probably say stop, or do something else.
Okay.
Sure.
Anybody else? Huh? Who are you? Tell me your name.
Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Say your name. I like your pants too, bro.
Huh?
I like your pants.
Thanks.
Go ahead, say it.
I'm Anwar, and yes.
Okay.
Yes, they really can.
Okay, so to answer this question, actually your answer was correct. And the answer is it depends on what you are doing. If you aren't doing anything, say for instance just walking down the street with a group of friends, can they stop you? Yes, they can, but do you have to interact with them and give them what they are requesting or what they ask of you? Then the answer is no. Now, the situation changes depending on what it is that you are doing. So what you always have to make sure that you're doing is, one, covering yourself, and two, just don't be walking down the street doing anything crazy, okay? What you want to do is always protect yourself and cover yourself against the police. But you don't want to be combative when they ask you questions. If they are requesting your ID or your information, you got nothing going on, you can give it to them, but you don't have to start answering completely unrelated questions. You can keep it moving. All right? Yes?
What's like considered crazy? Because, me and my friend, we be walking around, we be laughing.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. When I say crazy, I mean illegal.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
Y'all get that you walking down the street, police comes up to you and say, hey, can I talk to you?
No.
If they say, can I talk to you, you can say no. And you can, keep walking. And then if they say, well, hold on, and then you can turn, and the response is, am I free to go? Officer, are you detaining me? See, we have to learn the language. Officer, are you detaining me? Let's try that together. Officer, are you detaining me? And then this next one is, am I free to go? All right? And so we use that language to put them in a box. So they have to make a decision. They got to decide, well, man, do I have enough to really arrest them? And, man, they use the word detain. Maybe they know a lawyer. Or maybe, they got something going that they may jam me. Right? So, yeah, right. Now, everybody, y'all all know lawyers now because Jessica is here. Okay? You going too fast?
Yeah, too far.
Yeah, let me get that. I think we already answered that. Can you walk away? Police asked to speak with you because we want to make sure Brother Collie gets some time. Y'all know the answer. You could say, hey, can I go? I'm gone.
Next question. Can the police pat you down without a search warrant?
Come on, y'all got to answer now.
No.
Go ahead.
My name is Eldridge. Y'all know me. No, if you don't give them permission.
All right, Relda. Go ahead. Tell them who you are.
My name is Relda, and I'm 11, and I say no because unless they have a search warrant, you can't try to see if they have anything. Definitely if they are not a suspect.
Come up front real quick. Demonstration. We said pat down. Come on. Step up here. I want everybody to make sure y'all can see this brother. We said step up. Tell me your name.
Javante.
Javante, what high school?
No high school.
Get up. He graduated from Decatur. So the officer, can the officer pat him down? Right? So is this a pat down? Is that a pat down?
No.
That is a search. Okay? An officer cannot search you. A pat down is they interact with you, they believe you were involved in something, and they say, hold up. And it's all of this goes under the officer's safety. Right? And this is how they get away with so much in terms of getting you. I'm jumping ahead of myself, but this is a pat down. Right? So can they do that without a search warrant? Yes, they can do that without a search warrant, and they'll say that it's for officer safety.
And it has to be a situation where it is for officer safety. So.
And if you feel like an officer has patted you down and has stopped you and you believe it was bogus, report it. Stop remaining silent. Right? We talk when we shouldn't, and we remain silent when we need to talk. If they do some stuff where they stop you, pat you down, do that, report it. Keep reporting it until we can get some action. Okay, so that's the pat down. Thank you, brother. That's the first time he's ever been patted down, by the way.
I think we got one over here, too.
My question to that, Brother Mawuli, for the children, if the police officer because some of the questions I think that you're asking, what if the police officer violates you in that way? So if he's violating you in the real-time act of searching you, what does the child say? How do we respond?
I'll let Jessica start, and then
I think one of the main issues that we have in Atlanta with APD is that they do what they want to. Regardless of what the rules are, they're gonna do it the way they want to. What you have to make sure that you're doing is protecting yourself. So one, if you are able to record it, if you're able to write down what time it happened, when it happened, you have to report these things. A lot of issues that we have is that people will go to internal affairs, will file a report, we ask for the report, it's gone. It never made it into the office, it never made it into a file. So you've got to link up with other people who know about these things, who are able to help you, get with the community, get with attorneys, get with other activists, get with people who are familiar with what's going on and are familiar with who to get in touch with to stop this. But what you want to do is maintain your position, know what your rights are so that you're saying those buzzwords so that we've got something to combat that with in court and that you've also got something to combat that with throughout the community. They're going to do what they want to. So you have to protect it. Cover yourself.
But we do not want you to resist. Do y'all understand? All of you young people, you know, we can empower y'all, and sometimes y'all just like, I know what's up now. Chill. Chill. Be still. What we want you to do is get home safely, and then we'll deal with them, right? We'll deal with them. That's our mission. So when you're on the street and they got a badge and a gun, and they have the law on their side at that moment, if they are giving you instructions, follow them. But don't consent to a search. Just say, I'm not consenting to a search, officer, but if you're going to search me, you're going to search me. Right. And don't run from them. Don't struggle with them. The young man in Union City, Ariston Waiter, that was killed, he saw the police. He thought he had, you know, a warrant on some probation stuff, so he started walking away quick. And so one of the officers just sees him walking away. Now, should he have been murdered for that? No. He didn't have a gun. But you have to, officers are going, if you run, they're going to chase you. If you do anything, we're going to try a case next week. I think Tawana and I are going to try this case next week, where they're just lying. The cops are just lying about what our client did. So, you know, y'all should come and see that trial, so you can see how the police will lie. They'll get together and lie. But we're going to deal with it, and it's the proper way, because he didn't do anything to struggle with him. We're going to we're going to go a whole lot quicker. Yes.
If you're going to try to record what happened, get the officer's name and badge number, because you can't file an internal affairs complaint without the name of the officer.
And we just gave y'all a handout, because we just gave y'all a handout with knowing your rights. We want to make sure you take this with you, because we're not going to be able to cover every single thing. You didn't get one because you took that phone call. See, when you walked out there and took that phone call, you missed out on some knowledge, black man. We're going to give you one, brother. See, that's Baba on you. If the officers ask you to step out of the car, do you have to comply real quick? You do.
You do, actually.
You do. If you're asked to step out of the car, you have to comply. And again, what are they going to say? The reason, what is it? Officer safety. Y'all getting it now. We got to know this stuff, right? Go ahead, Jess, you want to hit him real quick?
If the officer asks to search your car, can you refuse? And the answer to that is yes.
Absolutely.
There's a completely different situation when your car is being searched after a lawful arrest. But when the officers are asking to search a car, it has to be related to the reason why you were pulled over. If you're pulled over because your music is too loud, that does not lead to the search of a car without more. So yes, you can say, I refuse to consent to a search. I am not consenting to a search of my vehicle. Make sure you
repeat after her. Y'all got to say that. I do not consent to a search or my person or my house or my purse, whatever. Yes, sir. You got a problem. If your car smells like weed,
that's a different situation.
There are two things you got to understand. It's a concept called plain view and plain smell. Plain view, and we've had the case, honest to God, brother driving down the street, gets pulled over. Tawana helped handle this case. He got a bag full of weed, just right on the seat, and the officer pulls him over and just like, oh, that's weed, I'm gonna have to arrest you. That's plain view. Plain smell, you just burnt, and then they pull you over, and they're like, I smell burned marijuana. They can even say they smell raw marijuana. So he's like, well, it's not burning, but you got raw marijuana in here. That'll get you pulled over too. And so that's plain smell. And so that allows them, that gives them the basis, the probable cause to search your car. You go ahead, Jess.
Can the police enter your house without a search warrant? No.
Very limited.
Right.
It's very limited, y'all. It's if you come, if they're chasing you, you come running in and you run into your house and slam the door, they can kick your door in and come after you.
That's called hot pursuit.
Right. But in general, they can't just come knocking on your door and say, hey, I'm coming here and search without you giving consent. They need a search warrant.
If they like knock on your door and say, hey, I want to talk to you, do you even have to speak to them?
That's actually the next question.
Right. There it is. Do you have to open your door, talk to the police? See, you already thinking ahead, right, son? Go ahead, sis.
And you actually do not. You are not required to answer the door and talk to them about anything. If they do knock on your door and they're asking you questions, what you're gonna want to do is respond to them by asking questions as well. Like what is it? What situation are you questioning me about? You want to know. You want to get to the meat of what they're there for, and you don't have to answer their questions, but you want to know what they're there for. Have them come back with a warrant if there's something inside that they need. But no, the answer is no. You do not have to answer their questions if they come to your door without a warrant.
All right. When do the police have to read you your rights? Now we got to ask that because everybody.
That's important.
Somebody said upon arrest. Upon arrest. Anybody else? Come
and
on.
in conjunction with that, does everybody know what it means for you to be in custody? Okay.
When you are in handcuffs, and see, here's what is very it frustrates us all the time. They come into our office, and Jessica's had this, and they'll say, "Well, they didn't even read me my rights. This is not a good arrest." That's not how it works. The reading of the rights, the Miranda, is that when you are arrested, they read you your rights to say anything you say can be held against you, right? Right? That's after arrest. But if they come up and they're talking to you, say, "Hey, how you doing, bro? How you doing?"
Good.
I heard you were involved in a bank robbery the
Stand
other
up
day.
for us. There you go.
I heard you were involved in a bank robbery the other day.
Stand up.
That's a good catch.
I wasn't.
You seem a little unsure about yourself. Weren't you at over at ITC the other day?
No.
Look, he answering too many questions. He all messed up. You saw what's the movie say? You know they didn't right? That's an old school movie. But so what happens is that in this encounter, which is considered a consensual encounter, I'm asking him questions. If he says anything, if he admits, yeah, man, they I don't know why they chumped me out and I went and robbed that bank with them. I didn't read him his rights as the police officer, but everything he says I can use because he's not in custody. It's when he's in custody that triggers the need for the reading of the Miranda rights. Does everybody understand? So just say,
am I free to leave?
Am I free to go? And my father, and this is for the young people, parents, tell them, give them authority to use your name in vain. Say, my mama, my daddy won't let, they say I can't allow anybody to search my car because it's theirs. They tell me that I can't talk to the police without them. Put it back on mom and dad. Because it's hard for young people, because we teach them to vibe with authority, to respect authority, and then we say, now assert your rights when the most authoritarian figure that we all interact with rolls on them. So we have to give them tools to be able to deal with that and say, well, my mom said, I just can't talk to the police without her being here. Well, yes, you can. I just can't do it. I don't want to get a whooping.
I'll come by.
Yes.
What's the age limit on sending it back to the parent?
I would use it for forever. I'm using it right. And I blame it on my wife. My wife won't let me talk to the police. She control everything about me, So you just got to figure something out to get them up off you so that you can get some time. So just have something clear in your mind that you're able to say. Because when those blue lights hit, that you start panicking, you start, going through some stuff. So it's not that easy. So we're gonna this is it. These are the final ones. If you look on the sheet, we want you to be non-confrontational, never run. Excuse me, officer, am I free to go? That's real polite for just let me go. Officers are natural advocates, don't believe what they say. Ask for a lawyer. Write everything down as soon as possible. Badge, number, and witness names and contact information. These are the statements. We're going to say them together. I do not consent to a search. What's the next one? Am I free to go? All right. And I have nothing to say until I speak with my lawyer, Jessica Robinson. All right. Yes, sister, then we're going to turn it over to Brother Callie.
I wanted to ask a question. When is the proper time for a child to safely contact their parent? Is it when the officer meets them on the street, or when they're in custody?
I think the child first should ask, officer, I'm not allowed to speak to the police without my parent present. Can I call my mom? Because what we don't want is for the reaction to be, let me go for my phone. You know, because we got a brother right now with a bullet in the back of his neck, and they saying, well, his phone was a gun. That's the, standard thing. So I would be very cautious with your hand movements and everything. And I know this, we're saying assert your rights, but at the same time, we just want you all to make it through these police encounters so that we'll deal with them. We get up in the morning wanting to get at them. You know what I mean? All right.
And I got one last thing.
Go ahead, Jess.
Attorney Morgan brought this up, and it's a good reminder for everybody. Keep in mind that now most of the police cars, when those blue lights are on, they are recording. So they have video recording, as well as the officers are wearing audio on their top. So when you are speaking and when you are saying, and when you're asking if you're free to leave, when you're asking why they stop you, speak clearly, because most times all of that is being recorded, and whereas they may not give it to you, we got ways to get it. Okay?
All right. Let's give it up for Jessica Robinson. And can the other lawyers in the here throw up? Brother Hick, throw your hand up. We got a lawyer here. Tawana Morgan, throw your hands up. All right. So we just want y'all to know these lawyers are here because they care. And so you're not in this alone. We in this together. And just their presence. They're not up here presenting, but their presence says we in this together. I want to give Brother Kali an opportunity to just, if he can break down some of the every 28 hours ghetto story report so everybody understands. And just briefly, the handout that you have on the backside is 10 tips for young activists that we put together, 10 tips for young activists. So we want y'all to walk away from here being activists, okay? So, Brother Kali, Malcolm X Grassroots Movement.
All right. So I just want to reiterate a couple of points that was mentioned here because I think it's important. I remember being, very young, very angry, lifting weights 6-7 hours a day, when I was playing football in high school and wanted to take them on, was begging for it in some respects for things I'd seen that they had done to others and what they had done to me. Wrong move. Wrong move. Live to fight another day. And you don't fight alone. Not this beast. You don't fight it alone. So when they, violate you, and they will, the point is to know your power, which is to know your rights. But, don't be confused about power in that context and your legal rights. Right? As was mentioned, they're going to do kind of what they want to do. But your power is to stay calm, don't get angry, don't overreact, take note of everything that was just said, and use it. And be prepared to fight for a long term, to fight for another day. Right? And exercise your power that way, and then organize other folks to help you to win your case. Right? To help you to win. And organizing is not that hard. I always say everybody in here is an organizer. You may not recognize that, but you are an organizer. How many of y'all have ever just, wanted to go from when you was a little kid to an adult that you wanted to do something with other people? Everybody, right? And there were some basic steps that you took to make sure that you got other people to come get down with you, right? You wouldn't talk to one of your friends, hey, let's go play basketball. Right? Or, let's go skateboard. Let's meet over at X, Y, and Z. Meet me here at this time. You had to call them. You had to organize. You had to think for it. Those are all the basic steps of organizing. Don't let doing something for a more explicit political purpose mystify the process. I think that's what a lot of us get confused about. I think, I want to go protest against the police. Well, I've never done that before, so I don't know how to do it. When actually, you know how to call your friends, right? You know how to call other people to help you do what you want to do. It's the same process, right? So don't mystify it. Use the natural things that you have already learned how to do in your household, in the street, in the school, and put it to use. Now, you can, as you develop and hone your skills, you will learn more of the science of organizing. But the very basics of it are talking to other people, building relationship, having a plan and a strategy, and then moving on that, right? And all of us have learned how to do that in various different ways, right? Just in our own social activity. So don't mystify it. And I think that's important because it helps you to build your confidence to be able to step out there. If you see it as something that's natural and that you already do, right, you won't feel as challenged or you won't feel as nervous about doing it because it's something that you already do all of your life most of the time anyway. All right, now, on this report, number one, I want to make sure that folks know where you can get it. Go to Malcolm X Grassroots Movement's website, which is www.mxgm.org. And you can also just Google it, either Every 28 Hours Report or Operation Ghetto Storm, and you can find it, okay? It's out there in a number of different ways. There's nothing that charges you. All the information that we produce is for free and accessible for folks to be able to use and take wherever you want to go. Now, y'all heard, I think most of y'all heard me earlier talk about some of the reasons why we did it. So let me go back and just to make it more clear and explicit. Number one, understanding that this is a very racist society. At its foundation, at its root, that's not something that's eliminated or stamped out by electing a black city council person or electing a black mayor or electing a black president, right? Culture, norms, those are things that take decades, sometimes if not centuries, to undo and uproot. Even if something kind of contrary to that kind of pokes his head or pokes his, there's still ways that continues to occur. So like the sister was talking about queer issues within the black community. There've always been queer people in the black community. Don't make no mistake about it. They've always been a part of the black community. They've always been part of us. But we have been taught as a result of the Christianization that was enforced upon us, which is different than the Christianity we had at home when that was, being in Africa, which existed there. So make a distinction and learn your history about that. But what was imposed upon us was very narrow in this understanding, not only of us, right, because it didn't view us as fully human, right, or the dominant perception was that because we were the children of Ham, that we deserved to be slaves, and that we were, hewers of hewers of water and the drawers of wood, right? All untrue, all unfounded. But with that socialization, came this very rigid way of looking at gender, which our community has always both kind of at the same time in a contradictory way embraced, but also rejected. And that's just part of the internal dynamic that we've been facing. But the issue and the point is, because of that socialization, even though those folks have always been there, they haven't not always been treated equally. And uprooting that is going to take some time, right? It's not like people just going to change their mind about certain things instantaneously. So it's going to be an ongoing struggle to fully, like, I know you're here, I want you to be in the closet. You don't want to be in the closet anymore. You're going to come out. That's going to take time, right? Don't mean that we shouldn't raise and struggle, but that's going to take time. But the one of the points was, in terms of this being, a very oppressive society, not just racist, but a very oppressive society, class oppressive, etc. We knew that as soon as Obama got got elected, that was a Freudian slip. As soon as Obama got elected, that there was going to be a upsurge in racist violence. And we saw that, right? And that was going to manifest itself in various ways. One of the ways in which it manifested, if y'all remember, in 2008, 2009, you couldn't go to a gun store in Georgia and get what you wanted because all the guns had been bought up. Y'all remember that? Some states, that's still going on. So that's a reflection of kind of somebody else saying, hey, I feel threatened. And I'm going to act and protect myself in a particular way, even though y'all ain't did nothing to them. Right? That's just part of the reaction. So knowing that and studying that, we said, well, look, we can anticipate that there's going to be a visceral response to this kind of symbolic change. And we anticipate that there's going to be more police repression on black people in this society. History did nothing but bore out that to be true immediately. So we didn't want that to go quiet. Why? Because there was so much time and energy put into telling us that we now living in a post-racial society. Right? Y'all remember at 28, like that was, it's all over, we all equal, it's all good. Like actually we were saying for the Malcolm X grassroots movement, don't be fooled. Right? And somebody's promoting that to promote a very narrow interest, which is not in our interest. So we wanted to give people hardcore concrete figures as to be like, they telling you it's one thing, but the reality says it's this. And if the reality says it's this, then it's our responsibility to defend ourselves, protect ourselves, and assert our own interests. But you got to know what you're dealing with. So we didn't want, folks to say, well, all y'all exaggerating the case. Y'all just kind of making stuff up. Because number one, y'all got to know there's still, even though the report came out and all this other stuff, there still is no national body which keeps these records. They stopped doing that in the 70s. And they don't, most places now do not, what they call aggregate data by race. So part of what we had to do was literally, and when we say, just to be clear, the 313 people that we documented, that is what we could find. So y'all recognize what that means. It may have been more. And it probably was. Because the way that we did the research, we first started with cities that had over 1 million people. Then cities that had 500,000 people. Then cities that had 250,000 people. Then cities that had 100,000 people. And we had to stop there because, you had basically 4 people that was doing all this research, looking at Google, looking at academic stuff. We had to stop. But we found some small little oddities like, some small little rural towns in the South and in parts of the Midwest where some young brother in particular was killed. And we only found out by looking kind of at the name, or we might find a picture, whatever, but it wasn't like it was majorly reported. So that's just what we could find. So the number is actually greater, right? The number, we know the reality is probably greater. But we wanted to make sure that folks had that information so that you could really be armed. And as Molly said, to connect the dots, right? Because there's from my vantage point, every time any one of us gets touched, there should be outrage. But the reality is we know that that's not what happens, right? Folks have been killed up in New York a couple of weeks before Mike Brown got, and then there was video, choked the brother to death. Right, and there was some outrage, but there wasn't a kind of a real serious response, right? There needs to be that every single time one of us gets touched, not just killed, right, in an unjust manner, but you got to be able to build your capacity to be able to do that, right? So we wanted to put that out there so that folks have the information, and then we put out some other materials and say, hey, this is how you can get organized based upon our experience, based upon our history, and based upon some of the models and examples that have worked. So that's why we did that, and we want y'all to make sure you read this information, spread the information, and there's 3 pieces. When you go on the website, and I'll end with this, there's 3 pieces that kind of work together. One is the Operation Ghetto Storm report, which actually has the figures, the pictures, etc. You can get that. Other thing to download there, there's a manual on organizing called Let Your Motto Be Resistance. Download that. It's also on the website. And then there's a We Charge Genocide, which is a curriculum to teach in schools, particularly the youth. So those are 3 pieces that we did together. Make sure you get all 3, utilize them. The information is free. Your life is, precious. Make sure you protect it and protect that of other people. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Give yourselves a hand. This was a great presentation. Thank you all for coming to this presentation. We're doing lunch right now. Anana, you want to make an announcement? Yes. Okay, so leave me with your evaluations. We're doing lunch. There's a lot going on out there, so you got lunches out there. You can get some T-shirts, and then we're back here at 1:30. Okay. Great job, everybody. We love the energy that you brought in this presentation. Thank you. Oh, we need the pens too. Ben will collect the evaluations. Tariq, collect the pens. Tarika, collect the pens. Thank you, brother.